I found myself reading a lot of non-fiction books this month. And so I thought, let me choose five random non-fiction books from the Kgosi Bookshelf. And if you didn't know, this platform is also an online bookstore. So I thought, let me choose five random books from the non-fiction section of this little bookshop for me to share. Maybe you could add one or two non-fiction books to your collection. Amidst everything that has been happening on TikTok with the trade wars in China versus the USA, I found this book on my shelf and I thought this would be an interesting read. So this is Gucci Wars by Jenny Gucci. And the synopsis says, for a decade, Jenny lived a life that most women can only dream of. Married to Paolo Gucci, one of the wealthiest men in the world, she stayed at the world's most exclusive locations and kept company with celebrities and royalty. But with such privilege came at a price, and the darker side of Paolo's personality began to take over. Desperate to break away from the influence of the family, Jenny instigated a divorce from Paolo, a move which left her homeless, penniless, hungry, and facing several court confrontations that would last for 10 years. She suffered threats and intimidation from him and feared for her safety and for that of their daughter Gemma, who he also refused to support. Jenny has survived countless struggles and unbelievable trauma, yet has come through all of them to become a stronger, more independent woman. This intriguing book gives an insider's view of what it's really like to be at the heart of a force so powerful and at times so unscrupulous. Her story will leave you breathless. So if you're a fashion girly, I think this would be a book of interest to you. And then this reminds me of a movie that I watched a couple of years ago. This is Philomena. And I remember Dame Judi Dench. Yes, she was Philomena in that movie. And the synopsis reads, as a teenager in Ireland in 1952, Philomena Lee fell pregnant and was sent to a convent, a fallen woman. For 3 years after her son was born, she cared for him there, and then the church took him away and sold him, like countless others, for adoption in America. This is the story of Philomena and her search for her son she never stopped loving. It is a tale of lives scarred by hypocrisy and secrecy, a compelling narrative of human love and loss, heartbreaking, yet ultimately redemptive. The Sunday Times says this is a touching story of a mother's 50-year search for her son. I enjoyed watching this movie, so would be nice to see what the difference between the movie and this book actually is. Another movie which I watched years ago was Eat, Pray, Love. And if I could actually take an Eat, Pray, Love tour right now. I would love to go overseas and eat pizza and just find myself. But yeah, I think maybe I'll experience a part of that by watching this movie again. The synopsis reads, Elizabeth is in her 30s, settled in a large house with a husband who wants to start a family. But she doesn't want any of it. A bitter divorce and a rebound fling later, Elizabeth emerges battered yet determined to find what she's been missing. She begins her quest in Rome. She indulges herself and gains nearly 2 stone. In India, she finds enlightenment through scrubbing temple floors. Finally, in Bali, a toothless medicine man reveals a new path to peace, leaving her ready to love again. I think a lot of us have watched this movie, so if you would like to read the text behind the movie, this is the book for you. I think I might have read this actually in high school. Another book that I've been meaning to read because I saw it on Book Talk is Crying in Mart by Michelle Zauner. And this book is her writing about her experiences with her mother, and her mother has passed away. So I think she's recollecting and retelling her life story. And it has gotten a lot of compliments. Like the first 2 pages are just quotes written about why this is the book to read for this year. I think it was published in 2021, I think. Yeah. And the last book that I have from my library, I actually remember coming back from swimming and on the radio, I think it was Lesedi FM, they were talking about this book. So this is These Are Not Gentle People by Andrew Harding. And it is about, on a warm evening in 2016, a group of 40 men gathered in a dusty corner of a dusty field on a farm outside Parys in the Free State. Some were in a fury. Others treated the whole thing as a joke, a game. The events of the next 2 hours would come to haunt them all. They would rip families apart, prompted and attempted suicide, breakdowns, divorce, bankruptcy, threats of violent revenge, and acts of unforgivable treachery. This book is a story of that night, of what happened next. It's a murder story or courtroom drama, a profound exploration of collective guilt and individual justice, and a fast-paced literary thriller. Andrew Harding traces the impact of one moment of collective barbarism on a fragile community, exposing lies, cover-ups, and political meddling and betrayals, and revealing the inner lives of those involved. This book is also a mesmerizing examination of a small town trying to cope with the trauma that threatens to tear it in two. As such, it is as much of a journey into the modern heart of South Africa as it is a gripping tale of crime, punishment, and redemption. When a whole community is at trial, who pays the price? And I guess you would have to read this to find out. So these are the 5 random non-fiction books that I currently have on the catalog. If you would like to read any of these, all you need to do is click on the link in my bio or click on www.KgosiBookshelf.com and browse the catalog, add 1 or 2 of these to your cart, and read something new. Read something you normally wouldn't. Read something by an author that you don't know.